Hello everyone, welcome to our weekly stock analysis review. I'm really happy to have you here because together we're going to look at the tradable opportunities in Indian stock market for next few days. In this series, we look at different stocks every week and review them on technical analysis. This way it helps us to work together and understand technical analysis better by applying consistently on Indian stock market. Remember, if there is any tradable opportunities, definitely we can capitalize, but this is more from an informational perspective. Myself, Murugan, I'm a SEBI registered research analyst. I do offer a professional consultancy services, but that goes by a lot of review check. But this from an informational perspective, and we do offer this in a public forum, so others may also capitalize this. Understand this as a disclaimer. We can quickly get started with today's session. Let me now log into my workflow so that I get my list of potential stocks. Then we can review them one by one. If you are fairly new to this platform, or if you haven't created your account, it's better you can create a free account and then log into this particular platform. Because once you get into this platform, you see a section called Add New here on very top. Make sure that you are signing in this particular platform through your laptop or a desktop version, because this enables us to do technical analysis. So by default, this may load some charts and you really need some wide screen. So I recommend at least a tab, laptop or a desktop, not definitely using a mobile phone, because in mobile phone that it don't be that user friendly for someone to perform a technical analysis in a greater detail. So if I get into the add new section here, I have a couple of things here. One is learn, the other one is post-training activity. I'm specifically talking about the post-training activities here, and make sure that you get into technical analysis practice exercise. Okay, so if you want to go through technical analysis practical exercise, okay, and here is where we have a task where you can actually subscribe this section. So once you hit the subscribe button, this will load you almost a 4 task. Okay, this can be done on a weekly basis to identify positional trading opportunities. So if you hit on explore them now, this is taking you through technical analysis practical exercise. Close to 4 activities being loaded here. A high potential stock selection guide, finding a bullish stock, a bearish stock, and exploring stocks through news and events. But for today's presentation, I prefer to pick up the high potential stocks and then review them on a technical basis. So if I get into this particular area, it gives me a welcome screen that if I'm really ready to get started, I can hit the submit button. But make sure that you are viewing them through a wide angle. I mean, a desktop or a laptop or at least a tab. But it is definitely not recommended to perform this particular activity through mobile screen. So if I hit the submit button, it is giving me a list, okay, by which I can pick up a stock. And it is not giving me the whole list of 1,000 companies. Rather, it is giving me a few companies. Maybe I have a list of 10 companies, may have some tradable opportunities, may have some momentum. Okay. So this is a curated list presented at EQSIS by doing our internal research. But of course, you can review them technically so that you can get the unbiased opinion. And this is good from the educational perspective as well. But if you really need any review on this particular stock by performing this analysis along with us, you may also get reviewed by the experts as well. So that particular reviews are available under admin review feedback section. Okay, coming back to this, I have a lot of companies here. So let me take one company to perform analysis here, which is ABCAPITAL here. So if I hit the ABCAPITAL here, it is loading me charts and it is asking me a question here. So all I need to do is to follow this checklist one by one so that I don't miss or I don't take any biased decisions. So the point is, it is asking me that how do you think the mentioned stock performed in the recent times? How did the Aditya Birla performed in the recent times? So by looking at the recent behavior, if you look at it from April especially till date, okay, the stock witnessed a significantly positive move. I'm not looking at the last one day, because if you look at the last day, it did witness a kind of hanging man pattern sort of a style. But I really want to say the overall behavior in the recent times is actually significantly positive. Because this is not the intraday analysis, rather I'm performing this from a positional analysis perspective. Okay, all those technical analysis what we are practicing here are positional, generally good to hold for a week or a month or even maybe more. Okay, so I see it as a significantly positive move happened here. And then the next question is, how do you describe the trading volume in the recent sessions? Now, I definitely see there is one very high volume taken place in the recent times, and of course in the last two trading sessions again back to back we had a good volume happening here. So I can definitely say high volume. Okay, am I right? It is not unusually high volume. So unusually high volume is like highest ever volume in last 2-3 years maybe. So probably you can even scroll down and to see. It is definitely good to know that this is also called as one of the unusually high volume. So if you really want to target this particular section, okay, now this comes under unusually high volume. But considering the overall period, it's nothing wrong that you qualify high volume or unusually high volume. It's not going to make a big difference. But this will enable you to look at from volume aspect. So you're not being carried away by looking at charts. You're looking at volume as well. Am I right? So now, how would you like to initiate your analysis based on AB Capital? So the AB Capital. So if I really want to take my view, see the list what we presented here may have some tradable opportunities. So you have to begin your analysis from the bullish perspective or a bearish perspective. We can review them as we move forward as well. It's not that you're concluding anything here. But if you don't see any tradable opportunities, probably you can skip the stock and you can go for another stock. But by looking at the stock behavior, the overall picture, it is always good that once you load a company, now have a wider view first. So I see the stock structurally forming kind of a higher bottom, higher top structure. And especially whenever it is moving up, it's moving pretty fast and it took time to correct. Okay. And then it has been extended. So by looking at this, I see there is a bullish trade, not just by looking at the overall view, because I can also see here there is a gap up with strong volume, and it's a kind of a flag behavior by for a period of week or more. So probably I wish to review this from a bullish perspective. Okay. So if I hit the button called bullish, so it is now asking me that do you see any price pattern formation here? So do you see anything called a higher top, higher bottom? If you ask me, yes, it is having a kind of higher bottom, higher top behavior here. Okay. So if I take the tops and bottoms marking here, okay. So I see this is supply zones here, and you see demand zones here, and then you see another supply zone coming here, and we do see this one. And the most recent one, the price was good enough to cross this particular area. Am I right? So it's definitely the stock is having a higher bottom, and breaking the previous top is qualifying as a higher top as well. So it's that good that you can choose higher top, higher bottom as well. Okay. And the stock is also having, I don't see any double bottom here. It is asking me to review if there is any double bottom. I don't see any double bottom here, but I do see a bullish flag, because a bullish flag is because I see a strong pole here and a sideways flag here. So I see a flag as well. If you have anything else that if you wish to mention, then you can hit the others button and you can write your point that anything except, but limit yourself to a price action, because this workflow will ask you about candlesticks, gap analysis, trend lines, indicators one by one. It's too early for you to think about those things. But if you're looking at any other price patterns, okay, probably you can write it here. But since I see a bullish flag, I wish to mark it through a bullish flag here. So now it is asking me to point a bullish flag on this particular chart. Okay. So if I take this, the proper way to sketch the bullish flag is to first highlight the pole. Okay, it's very important that you identify the pole. The pole has to be pretty steep. Okay, so that's one healthy component of the pole. The other one is the sideways area, which should be always almost around the top section. So almost if I get into this area, like for the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, almost every other day, the price is somehow able to hit the top section. Okay, so it is very clear that we have the flag is available here. So once I mark the flag, I'll hit the summit here. So make sure that your presentation is nice, so that because all your activities can be behind the screen reviewed by the expert. So whatever the presentation you have should be easy for us to have a look, and we can review it back. So do you see any candlestick patterns here? Any candlestick patterns? Yes, of course, I do see a candlestick pattern here, because the kind of hanging man picture comes here, and that particular hanging man pattern says that can be a minor weakness is expected. But I see it other way around, because on the overall picture, the trend is very strong. okay, and it gave a bullish breakout and took a flag breakout happened, okay, on this particular day after the sideways move, and now it's a bit of consolidation is happening. So I see a 1 or 2 day may extend a bit of weakness, but any day when a price breaks this, it is all set to rally further, okay. So this stock in fact had given a early breakout here itself and a right tradable opportunities to buy at that point in time. So I don't see any bullish candlestick pattern is into the picture, so I say no here. And now it is asking me that have you stock witnessed any gap? Yes, certainly the stock witnessed a gap here. So we have to mark this area called a gap. Let me take icons here to mark the gaps here. Okay. So I see a gap here. Am I right? This is the gap that I'm actually presenting it. Okay. And there is a gap here. Am I right? Yes, there is a gap. So what type of gap that you categorize it here? So I call this particular gap as an area gap because this is a gap formed within the supply and demand zone. If you are not familiar with that, probably to some days you try copy whatever the analysis we do and get used to it, to start studying about it. Or if you really want to interact with us, you're most welcome. So make sure that your analysis happening on a consistent basis so that this act as a kind of mentoring for you to gain confidence. But if you really want to be work with us in a very closed way, you're most welcome. Probably you can get connected with our admin team there. So here it is actually called as an area gap here. Okay. So it is asking me to highlight the area gap. So I'll pick up the icon section here, as I told you. And since now I'm marking this as an area gap, probably if I want to write it through a text, now I can say it is area gap is visible here. Okay. And area gap with high volume, and it is not even getting filled. That shows that there is a bullish momentum is expected, and the breakout can even be a strong and positive. Okay. And then what does this area gap indicates? Can be taken as an early indication of strength. Yes, because the day when you see a gap, and I'm not talking about as of today, the day when you see a area gap, it indicates the a strong indication because that had a high volume and it is reluctant to be filled. So this gives me a clue that it is an early indication of strength. Okay. And then do you observe any of the following specific indicators from RSI? Okay, so it is asking me to apply RSI to see if there is any tradable opportunities here. So I hit the button called RSI. Okay, if you look at RSI, okay, it is above 70. So in general, people see RSI above 70, it is kind of overbought, seen as a negative indication. Okay, but for me, it looks slightly different because we all know that RSI is not great when the market is really trending. Okay. And now by looking at even Dow theory, okay, looking at the higher bottom, higher top structure here, higher bottom, higher top structure, the market is actually witnessing a beginning of rally, which is a beginning of a trending zone. The market witnessed a breakout already. So now it is very natural that the RSI tends to struggle. And we see early signal that RSI did try something here. Pay attention here. Okay, now here is where one attempt where the RSI, although it was hovering at 70 but unable to push the price lower, rather it is a kind of a sideways consolidation. So this is again an indication that RSI is struggling here, is vouching the trending zone. That is the reason why that we are also kind of ignoring the candlestick pattern. So the RSI behavior or the behavior of failure in RSI and advocating me that the stock is kind of in a trending a bullish stock. So we probably look at this from a bullish indication from the RSI, okay, by looking at the recent failure. Okay. So kindly highlight the trending behavior. That is what we typically talk about this particular section here. So I probably highlight this area, okay, of a frequent failure in 70 zone, and this as a point of trending area. Okay, and do you see any trend lines that could you check here? Anything about that particular area? So since it is actually bullish, I connect a couple of bottoms to see anything that we can actually work on it. So I have a upward sloping trend line. Okay, it's to make use of it. I wish to extend this as a clone the copy and try to create a channel on top of this. Okay, So it's too early for me to say that there is a resistance being placed, but it still has way to go. Probably it can extend further to get into the channel. So from a trend line perspective or from a channel perspective, I don't see any fresh signals here. So the reason why we actually go through this particular series of questions is to make sure that we are unbiased while taking decisions. So that may be the reason why that we have to go by checklist instead of just by looking at it. So if you take the stock review, can take about 5 to 10 minutes, but it helps us to look at things in a greater detail. And if you perform analysis through workflow also, probably we can look at it behind the screen and we can give you a feedback. That is what you get it from admin feedback section here. So it is asking me to perform moving average here. So do you wish to apply the moving average? Why not? Let me give an attempt by applying moving average here. It is asking me that do you really wish to apply a short term, medium term? So I'm just giving you numbers here as an example, but if you have any favorite moving average numbers, you can use it, but be consistent about it. Don't change moving average lines stock to stock day by day. Be consistent about moving averages. If you ask me, I'm a kind of person who lives with a 21-day moving average as my short-term moving average. Okay, so if I pick up a moving average here, I pick up the short-term moving average somewhere here, and I change this to 21-day moving average. That's my usual practice here. Okay, and if I look at the moving average here, okay, I don't want to put so much of things here, but try follow this lines here. And the style is getting into slightly thicker so that it becomes visible, and let me put it in the red color. Okay, and the moving average. Okay, if you look at the price breaking moving average ups and downs shows a kind of a volatile behavior, but coming up this after the break with the particular gap, when the price went far away from the moving average, pulled back here and then started moving up here. So we see that the moving average is is expected to provide a kind of support here. So taking support at a moving average and witnessing a kind of a trending behavior as well. It's not a kind of mean reversal expected at this moment. I see that it is just witnessed a pullback by testing the moving average. So it is also kind of a positive aspect here. So how do you wish to proceed with the stock? No, I rather recommend to people to go for a long. Okay, that's the kind of recommendations I have. But do consider that this video is being published in the public forum. So people might have looked at before than you, or some of our customers might have encashed it as a kind of a disclaimer that we wish to present it here. Okay. And so indicate any technical justifications or patterns that you use to justify. So here is where you have to summarize a bit. Okay, make sure that you write it in a little more detailed way so that we at backend, when we see your analysis and if we really want to pass on any of our opinion, this helps a lot. So now if I want to spend some time in writing here, okay, now by looking at this, here I see a bullish flag. Okay, bullish flag, and it witnessing higher bottom, higher bottom, higher top with the bullish, with high volume. Am I right? Higher bottom and a higher top with high volumes. Okay, with high volume, and RSI indicates the trending behavior. Okay, do consider. Okay, many people by looking at this RSI behavior may consider that it is actually the oversold. It is a bit speculative, but we have taken a call as a trending behavior for a simple reason, because RSI did witnessed oversold, but the price didn't respect that. It started moving, so it witnessing a kind of early trending behavior where it is very natural to see RSI do fail here. Okay, so that RSI overbought thought process may not actually work out here because it is in the trending behavior. Okay, so considering all the aspect, we see the stock has some a clear tradable opportunities. Ideally, the stock should have been bought right above the if I take the long positions to be placed, pick up the long positions here. Okay, and ideally the long position can be initiated anywhere nearby the flag, or by now, if I'm looking at the stock, I rather recommend to buy the stock even above this particular high, because when the price goes above this, the candlestick pattern of hanging man even getting failed, okay, that gives us a little more confidence to actually move further. Okay, and if I squeeze this, okay, and I can probably keep the stop loss below the flag here, and I can look after 1:1. Okay, this is a good from the current trading level perspective. But those who had a chance to look at flag itself, there itself, must have entered the position here. You can good to hold on to your position, needless to worry, by looking at this candlestick pattern, and keep a stop loss and look after 1:1. Okay, I hope you have those marked being here, and then hit the submit button. So what will be the tentative holding period? This is something, it's if it goes above, this can probably go in a week also, because the flag generally takes less time and it is very impulsive to go. But in a very conservative way, you can keep it for a month. But I still see this is good for a week by looking at the behavior that what it had. Okay, so and then if I hit the submit button, my analysis comes over here. So I've taken only one stock to review at this moment, but of course there are a lot more stock may have some potential to review. So you don't have to spend time on about hundreds of company, because we at backend do review and prepared a list of stocks here. So what you can actually look at is pay attention to that particular company in a closer view, and if you really want to look at stocks, from the scanners and filters, and if you really look at stocks out of the box, probably you can use scanners and filters. Or if you go through the stocks which are in limelight, probably this can also help you, which is exploring news and events, or the stocks to identify through news and events. Thanks for watching this particular video. Have a great journey here.